Hi, it's Rob from No Fun Club in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We've done some very in-depth gear and recording videos, and thought it might be fun to switch it up a bit. To that end, I'll be using the studio for pure experimentation, going into it with no preconceived ideas and goals other than to learn and get weird. Let's do this! Sometimes when we're feeling musically uncreative, using instruments and techniques we're not familiar with can really break oneself out of that rut. I'm not a drummer or keys player, so let's try something with those. Since we're isolating, I need to set up the console and press record in Logic myself. I'm not a drummer, so I think I'll do a tape loop so I don't have to worry about staying in perfect time. Tape loops are a pretty fun way to experiment with sound and are satisfying in that you can feel like a mad scientist rigging them up. There are many videos explaining this better than I can, so I won't get too into it. With a tape machine, mic stand for the extended tape path, grease pencil, and razor, you can land on some pretty interesting results. The drum loop sounds okay, but let's mess with it. The leveler is pretty cool. I don't have much experience with it, but it is a 500 series recreation of the Shure Level Lock. The Shure Level Lock was an old audio limiter that distorted the signal in a pretty gross yet surprisingly interesting way when pushed too hard. We'll do an old trick and copy the drums to the computer, sending one clean copy and one distorted copy back to the loop, and then listen. Much more interesting. Maybe we can use it as the foundation of a song idea. Let's move the loop into the computer so we can experiment with more options. The Eventide H910 harmonizer is a pretty cool unit. It was the first commercial digital audio effects device. We could do a whole video on it, but basically it's a gnarly delay and pitch shifting device that gets you into some pretty weird territory quick. Let's try running the drum loop through it and recording the affected signal to a new track. Maybe not. Or maybe a little low in the mix. The cool thing about experimenting in the studio is that often you learn more from what doesn't work than what does. We're lucky to have an excellent house engineer in Riley who can efficiently find ways to experiment in the studio without going down a rabbit hole. I think this is one of the most undervalued things about well-run studios. Having a skilled guide to lead you in creative exploration while maintaining session momentum and efficiency. Anyway, I think I'll try putting some keys on this thing. The Prophet 5 is cool because although it's a polyphonic synth with lots of tweakability, it's pretty easy to stumble across an interesting sound with zero knowledge of synthesizers. An important quality when balancing experimentation and efficiency at the studio. This track sounded pretty weird. Let's see how far we can take it. A number of old tape reels containing mostly classical recordings arrived with our tape machine. I sampled one of these old reels while playing in reverse and putting it through some distortion. Let's see if it lines up with anything on this track in an interesting way. Well, that was sufficiently weird. Thanks for joining me on this journey of sonic discovery, and hopefully it's been interesting to watch. If you feel like it, please leave a comment with any future video suggestions. Bye!